It's a very Mormon hymn in a way, even though it didn't come from us. It's connected with the prophet Joseph in his final hours, but also with his mission and the kind of Christianity that he wanted.
James Montgomery was many things to the city. He was a philanthropist. He had other people's best interests at heart. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk and he took the rap.
If you look at his early life, he didn't like his parents' strict religious upbringing of him, so he ran away to try and make a life for himself as a poet. So within 6 months of taking over the newspaper, he was charged for treason, sedition and libel.
And James Wilkinson, as the magistrate, had James Montgomery sent to the court and actually ended up in prison. Certainly prison at that time would certainly not be a very nice place. It would be literally bread and water.
Disease was rife. The smallest things would have been a blessing.
And when he was in York Castle prison, he started to write this different kind of poetry. It was more kind of meditative, it was more internalised.
I think that experience of prison probably motivated him even more.
When he came out of jail, he does very much embrace religion, specifically the Bible again, and he does use Christ as his role model. And it's there in all of his philosophy.
James Montgomery was able then to promote his thoughts on Christian philanthropy.
Except the first verse, composed in the dark in coach on the morning that I set out from Sheffield to York, the sketch was written with pencil on a scrap of blank paper on that tempestuous Saturday, 10 days before Christmas.
I think that journey from Whitby to Scarborough and him penning that poem was born out of the impact of him experiencing what others were experiencing.
So inspired by vapours, clouds and storms, on the wild and melancholy moors along that lofty coast, were afterwards painfully, yet pleasantly, elaborated in my walks during the short stay which I made at Scarborough.
The way he's speaking about the landscape sort of mirroring this overflow of emotion that he's experiencing. So he's tremendously afraid, anxious, worried, concerned, and the seas are stormy.
I shall never forget the accomplishment of the fourth verse, which begins, "'Twas night, the floods were out," on the height of Oliver's Mountain on a gloomy, threatening afternoon, which naturally made me anticipate the horrors of such a night as is there described.
The ideas are tremendously sophisticated, and I think he absolutely nails that balance, and the result is extraordinarily potent. It lends itself to hymns because everybody in a congregation can recognise what you're talking about and then can join in expressing those in a way that it also remains accessible.
A poor wayfaring man of grief have often crossed me on my way.
It's about encountering a stranger. And Mormons were strangers a lot. I mean, I think that they related in that sense to being on the outside. They were on the move quite a bit.
The message of that song that James Montgomery wrote suddenly comes here in living missionaries. Dan Jones down in Wales, John Fulmer here in England. He actually publishes a whole pamphlet that is then sold amongst the British saints.
They thought of themselves in that sort of poor wayfaring concept.
Who sued so humbly for relief that I could never answer nay.
It's Christ's voice saying, "When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was in prison, you visited me. When I was naked, you clothed me."
Insomuch as you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. That's the core of the text.
He was a man who made a significant impact on the city of Sheffield, and I would say the Christian world, and probably near the world itself. And all around the world, people sing Montgomery's hymn.
So he does have a statue outside the cathedral. He does have streets named after him, he does have these biographies, and actually it comes from doing good.
His influence was incredible, and we thank God for James Montgomery.
I had not power to ask his name, whereto he went or whence he came, yet there was something in his eye that won my love. I knew not why.
And let's follow in Christ's footsteps and be like a James Montgomery.
In the stranger, you might be encountering Christ himself.